Tremolo is all about movement, and this Supro Tremolo is definitely going to get us moving today. Now, this is normally the part of the video where I jump right into the first little jam, but I wanted to give a heads up because you're going to hear an effect in here in the first half that sounds a lot like a phaser or a univibe, but it's actually this tremolo in harmonic mode. And we're going to talk more about harmonic mode versus amplitude mode later on. But normally when you think about tremolo, you just think about volume going up and coming back down. And harmonic tremolo is essentially two tremolos operating out of phase of one another, one for high frequencies and one for low frequencies, which is why you hear that sort of phantom note sweeping up and down in there. All right, enough of me. Let's get to the first jam. With that in mind, give this a listen and see what you hear. In the second half of that little jam, I wanted to do some noodling, but I didn't just want those notes to just be there. So I used the amplitude mode of the tremolo to kind of punch a bunch of little holes in the guitar line. So medium high speed, medium high depth, and medium high gain on the pedal as well, and that's what you're hearing. You probably also noticed that I added a Bell Epoch Deluxe to the mix. That's a fairly recent purchase. I'm still getting the hang of it, but so far I'm having a lot of fun with it. That's really it, other than the compressor and me trying to get over my habit of overplaying everything. But I'm pretty happy with the way that came out. I listened to a lot of Minus the Bear this weekend, and I wanted to see if I could do something in that kind of style. Anyway, the Supro Tremolo does a very specific type of tremolo, and that's amp tremolo. Compared with a purely volume-based tremolo, there's a grit and a percussive element of the way that it hits those peaks. So take a listen to the Boss TR2. And now take a listen to the Supro Tremolo. And I'm not trying to do a this versus that, especially so early in the episode. The TR2 is amazing. It's one of the best tremolos out there, but it's important to know that when I say amp-like tremolo, there's something behind those words. And a big part of the Supro sound is how they built the guts of this thing with a preamp and a power amp section, including a tiny little output transformer in here so that when the amplitude is cresting and you're really pushing it, you're getting real, actual magnetic saturation from the thing. Same type you'd get from an amp. Another important thing about this pedal is that it's got drive built right in, and I was surprised at just how hard this drive goes. And did you notice how I was able to keep the volume pretty flat there despite there being no volume or output knob on here? Yeah, they have something in this pedal that automatically compensates the volume as you add in the drive. And man, do I love that. Back to the tremolo effect. This pedal operates on a fixed waveform, so you can't make it do like a pure triangle or the hard on off chop thing. You just got speed and depth. And depth is just how wide the oscillation is, and speed is how fast or how slow it goes. So here's the range of the depth knob. And here's the range of the speed knob. Finally, amplitude versus harmonic mode. Let's start with the amplitude tremolo, which is just a modulation of the amplitude or volume. Volume goes up, volume goes down, repeat, circle of life. The problem, if you want to call it that, with amplitude tremolo is that in order for it to happen, there's going to be a perceived drop in volume because it's cutting into that original signal. Look at this. These are the same chords played relatively the same way, first with no effect, and then with amplitude tremolo. It's the same thing, but with brief periods of less. And there are ways around this. You can add in a little bit of boost, you can include a volume knob on the pedal, but you can't have a peak without a relative valley. Enter harmonic tremolo. Sound comes in, a high pass filter takes high frequencies up here, takes lower frequencies down here, and there's an oscillator in between them. So as one goes up in amplitude, the other one goes down in amplitude, and vice versa, and so on and so on. So now there's less of a perceived loss of volume because the overall amplitude stays relatively flat. Plus, we get that nice swirly back and forth effect like what we heard in the opening demo there. Here's both modes back to back so you can hear the difference. So when would you use a tremolo? Well, with the depth set really low, it can be used to add just a little bit of sway to what might otherwise be a very matter-of-fact chord progression. Step it up a little bit to add some swagger to those double stops. You can almost see the tumbleweeds. You can also throw it into harmonic mode with a low and steady sweep to get that trippy univibe effect. One last thing that really sets this one apart is that it's got an expression pedal jack, so you can control the speed in real time. And that really opens up a lot of options, and I used it to have a little bit of fun on this next number. This little pedal really surprised me. I've played with harmonic tremolos before. They didn't have quite the same vibe. I guess that's a pun. And I really like having the built-in gain function over here. It gives it something to get into as those waves crest, so it's not just the volume cutting out again and again and again. Really solid pedal, really tall pedal. Look at that. And it's just got a lot of character. If you're shopping tremolos, also definitely look at the Caroline Parabola. This has a slightly different style, but it also gives you two modes and a drive option, and I just love all of their stuff. There's also the Humble TR2. This is a classic for a reason, and you see it on pro boards all over the world. So tons of options, lots of great sounds. Had a lot of fun with this one today, though. I'm a head out, but please make sure that you're subscribed. The button's over here somewhere. Make sure you're following me on the Instagram, Stompbox Breakdown, and I will catch you on the next one.